My husband is Jeffrey Edward Almeida. I'm not a public speaker. I would not choose to do this. But Jeffrey would have had me come, and he would have loved that his name was being spoken at this place, on this podium. His name was Mr. Be Careful. Truly, that was his nickname, Mr. Be Careful. He saw danger everywhere. He took precaution in every single way that he could possibly think of for himself, for his workers. My husband died of mesothelioma, an asbestos-related illness. It is still legal in this country. We are one of the few that has not banned it. You are still apt to breathe it in, taking down a wall, working on a car. He couldn't understand how this could happen. He would never have knowingly exposed himself or anyone else to this substance. His death was terrible. He did not die suddenly like so many, but the grief is the same. We lost him over a year and a half. He went from a vibrant 59-year-old to a 60-year-old man who could not live. He weighed very little. He looked like he was 90. At the very end, when he was told there was no longer any treatment for his illness, he asked the doctor if he got better, could he come back for more chemo? Because that's how much he wanted to live. He died a week later. Something must be done. He was a man who knew how everyone voted. There wasn't a politician that you could say his name that he didn't know what that person stood for. Let's make our votes count. Think about who you're voting for. Are they for the working man like Geof Almeida? He was watching out for all of you. Please watch out for each other. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Durkin. I'm here representing Council 93 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. AFSCME proudly represents more than 38,000 hardworking public sector employees here in Massachusetts, including more than 2,000 workers right here in the great, resilient, and strong city of Boston. On behalf of our Executive Director, Frank Maroney, and our President, Charlie Owen, I want to thank MassCosh for organizing this event every year. And I want to express our condolences to the people here today who have lost a family member or a co-worker. I know you don't want to be here today. None of us do. But it's important that we keep gathering here every year until we reach a time when it's no longer necessary. 5 months ago, AFSCME lost one of our brothers to a tragic workplace accident. His name's Carlos Tabares. On November 30th, 2012, Carlos went to his job as a mechanic for the City of New Bedford's water department, just as he had done every day for the previous 9 years. He never made it home. Working alone, Carlos died after being pinned between the bucket and cab of a piece of heavy equipment he was repairing. He was 55. He left behind a loving wife, 5 sons, and a number of devastated union brothers and sisters. Let me tell you a little bit about Carlos. He loved coaching in the junior softball league. He was very involved in his church. He gave up a lot of weekends helping friends save a few bucks by performing free repairs on their cars. And he loved riding his motorcycle, especially on days like today and on charity rides to raise money for veterans and others in need. According to his good friend and AFSCME brother Dennis Monty, he and Carlos would ride as often as they could. And Dennis tells me that while the charity rides were dominated by the big Harley Davidson bikes, Carlos would gleefully keep up on his little Honda 650. He had no shame, Dennis told me just last night. He'd ride with the best of us. He would have had just as much fun on a moped. For him, it was all about the ride, time with friends, and raising some money for others. Dennis also told me that Carlos was the type of guy who would give a friend the last 50 cents in his pocket and just go without, if that's what was necessary. But his hobbies, his charitable work, and helping friends in need always took a backseat to Carlos' greatest love, his family. His wife and kids always came first. He cherished the quality moments with his family, the simple times, like playing with the kids in the backyard. You know, since the state is still investigating the circumstances surrounding Carlos' death, we don't know right now everything that went wrong that tragic day in November. We may never know. But one thing we do know is year after year, we gather here to mourn the loss of decent working people like Carlos, who have a right to go to work every day with the expectation of returning home. And we also know that many of these tragedies could have been